So I moved back to campus, I think it was like January 6th. I was moving back early because I was a presidential assistant, so I had work to do. I was excited because I was only taking music classes. I had the admissions internship. I knew I had a show that I was putting up in the Berg Fringe Festival, and I was just excited to be back on campus with my friends, enjoying the time that I still had because I knew I only had one semester left. So it was full of unknowns and endings and excitement.
I thought the spring semester was going really well already. I was having a lot of fun, as the spring usually is. Nice weather. I was hanging out with a lot of new people, meeting new friends, making new experiences, like Muhlenberg allows us to do.
I was coming back and reaffiliating with Muhlenberg. I got into the harmonics that semester, so I was looking forward to gigs and performances, along with off the cuff performances as well, the dramatic group I'm in, and just seeing my friends again and hanging out with them and really getting time to bond.
This is a tough one. I think I knew something was up very early in March during spring break.
As the weather was warming up and the college community was enjoying the spring semester, an invisible terror was making its way towards the Lehigh Valley. An outbreak of SARS-CoV-2, also known as COVID-19, began in Wuhan, the capital city of China's Hubei province, and quickly ravaged its way through the country. Believed to have begun in the province's wet markets, the virus presents an array of symptoms: fever, respiratory distress, loss of taste and smell, and fatigue, just to name a few. What makes the virus so horrifying, however, is how easily transmissible it is.
I definitely was ignorant when it came to coronavirus outside of the US, like in China and stuff. I heard the common things like someone ate a bat and now there's a huge virus outbreak, whether or not that's true.
If it was in the news, it was not that big a deal. It was just, hey, this is happening. It's news.
And I think it was like beginning mid-February that I was like, ooh, this could get a little interesting.
I spent my spring break attending a conference on choral music in Rochester, New York, and there was some general concern at the conference. But that week was certainly the week where people in my sphere were starting to realize that our country had a potential catastrophe on its hands. The Monday after spring break, when we all returned to our normal courses, I had a very uneasy feeling. I began to wonder how, in good conscience, I could ask between 40 and 90 people to gather in the same room to rehearse with a potential health crisis in the making. I was especially concerned that we had all just returned from spring break and that the potential for us to have brought the virus back to the campus was actually quite high. I had a really sick feeling in my stomach at each rehearsal until the decision came out to depart, because I didn't understand what the risks were that I may be exposing my students to.
By the time students returned to campus after spring break, the virus had become the forefront of national news. In an effort to quell the outbreak, talk began of closing of businesses deemed to be non-essential, places like theaters, restaurants, and sports stadiums. Also being discussed were schools. With the threat of this virus becoming more and more imminent, the continuation of in-person schooling seemed impossible. Muhlenberg's administration knew they had to act quickly.
Yeah, that email was definitely an email. I can confirm that.
My show was supposed to happen the weekend that we got sent home. So I was in tech when we got the email, and one of my actors, actually, we're all sitting around a table, and he goes, "Guys, check your email, we're being sent home." And so all of us were like, "Danny, you're joking, like, that's funny, but it's not a good prank, especially right now." And he was like, "No, I'm serious." And then our ASM was like, "No, go check, like, it's real."
At 8:46 p.m. on Tuesday, March 10th, the college sent out an email that both shocked and devastated the Muhlenberg community. Recently, we have seen a number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Pennsylvania, as well as those already reported in states nearby, including New Jersey, New York, Delaware, and in Maryland. I am writing to let you know that we've made several significant decisions that impact everyone at the college. This email suspended in-person classes after Friday, March 13th, and sent everyone home no later than March 14th at 2 p.m. This sent campus into chaos.
I feel like, especially me and my roommates, thought it was coming, but not so soon. When we got sent the email, we all kind of looked at each other for a second, and no one really said anything until we heard a lot of people causing commotion in the halls above us, and we realized that it was actually happening.
I was sitting in my dorm room writing an essay for my history class, and then my phone rings and I picked it up and my roommate's like, "Hey, Becca, check your email." So I go on my email, it's from the school, and they're saying we're gonna go home, and I'm like, what? Like, I was so confused.
And then everyone simultaneously checked their email at the same time, and then all of my actors started crying, and I didn't know what to do because I'm a stage manager. I have to be in charge. I need to be calm, cool, collected. And so I kind of just bottled up everything and tried to take care of everyone else. And everyone was calling their parents, and I walked outside and looked down into the lobby.
You just kind of hear the noise level gradually increase in the CA, really as a whole. I remember vividly, I was sitting on the ledge of the fishbowl, like by the lights. My hands were kind of already grabbing it, so I was kind of like sitting like this. And I stayed in that position for a good 5 minutes. Not really talking to anyone, not really saying anything. Just kind of sitting there.
So people were in the hallways crying, some people were screaming. It was so strange.
I was really confused, really worried. Right away, I called my mom, tried to figure something out. It was weird because I know that I wasn't allowed to feel as bad as the seniors felt, but I still felt kind of bad because it was also my first year, and it was just weird.
That was devastating to me because I am a senior, or was a senior, and I wasn't going to have a final 2 months with my friends. I wasn't going to have commencement. I wasn't going to have senior week. I wouldn't have a final performance for theater or circus or improv. And, it sucked.
Despite being faced with sadness, frustration, and fear regarding what was to come, the Muhlenberg community showed bravery and resilience during the final days they had together. On the performing arts side of things, the Muhlenberg Theater Association worked closely with the theater and dance department to ensure that the spring semester scheduled shows would be able to have at least one performance. The days that followed were filled with art, community, and togetherness. On Tuesday, TBD, Muhlenberg's musical improv group, held an impromptu show hours after the email went out. On Wednesday, all of the a cappella groups gathered in the Center for the Arts for a final showcase. It was over 3 hours of singing that ended in a big group hug. And on Thursday, the 3 studio productions were given one performance. In addition to the Bacchae, Muhlenberg's Spring 2020 mainstage production, holding an open dress rehearsal soon after. The night concluded with a theater, dance, and music festival that carried on until 2 a.m.
That night, when the email went out, and those next few days, I had never seen the people on campus more alive and connected.
I feel like it was a really emotional and almost spiritual experience to be in that tight-knit community for those days where everyone knew that's all they had.
But I remember I believe it was the next morning, I had class again, and my class is seniors only. I just remember getting in there, and I'm a professor who tends to try to sit in the class as people come in, just because I like to talk to them as a person. And no one was talking. And I remember having an idea of what we were going to do in that class, having something scheduled, and I threw it out the window. Because nobody was in the mindset to do any work. So I just talked with them, commiserated, and then they left. And that was it.
And by Saturday, March 14th, a campus that was once so full of life, vibrance, and art sat empty. A lot has happened since I've sifted through this interview footage. In July, President Herring and the senior staff made the difficult decision to allow only first years and a select number of upperclassmen to live on campus for the fall 2020 semester. This threw everyone else into a semester of digital learning. Since then, community has been redefined, with classes, extracurriculars, and events happening completely virtually. There's a lot of uncertainty regarding what's to come. One thing is for sure, though. The Muhlenberg community is resilient. The Muhlenberg community is kind. And we will come out of this stronger than ever.